Listener, you are listening to Radio Pacis 90.9 FM, a piece of press for all, and you are most welcome to this very talk show hour. In the house, I have guests from PICOT, and they will be talking about feedback mechanism in planning and budgeting process in local government. My name is Philip Ajay, your host, and at this very point in time, allow me give this very opportunity to the guests I have in the East Studios to introduce themselves. Thereafter, we will be able to get to the discussion to start with, right over here.
Thank you very much, moderator. I'm Baiti Tair, the Sub-County Chief, Lobule Sub-County.
Baiti, you're most welcome to Radio Pacis.
Thank you.
Good evening, listener. My name is Bako Stella. I work with partners in community transformation as a project officer.
Which is actually PICOT in short, right?
Yes.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. Good evening, listener. I'm Lomo Christopher, the Senior Assistant Town Clerk of North Division of Oko Municipal Council.
You're most welcome to Radio Pacis as well. All right.
For Wameri Wadi, Rusiba Monza Sarah Gloria, CDO North Division Bore.
All right. Thank you so much for coming, Gloria. And I'm also most welcome to Radio Pacis. Listener, like you've heard, we will have a mix of languages, English, Kafua, and Lubara as well. And of course, for your concerns, you will be able to call in on 0776 255 086. Alternatively, you will call on 0754 201 301. And the SMS line is wide open as the interactions go on in the studios. You can as well send in your message on 0393 273 252. And just for starters, Marco Stella, Project Officer, PICOT, give us a brief intro to the discussion we are going to have right here. And even just before you get to the actual discussion, PICOT, what is PICOT? I've sat in here for a number of times, and it's the first time I'm hosting guests from PICOT.
Thank you, moderator. I think I'm humbled for you to host us today.
Okay.
This is not our first time as partners in community transformation. PICOT, we are a local NGO based in Koboko, but we are operating in the entire West Nile region. Currently, we are in around 5 districts. We are in Arua, we are in Yumbe, we are in Maracha, we are in Koboko, and the Terego district. But hopefully, we will be expanding in most of these districts. Aside from knowing who we are, I think we could talk even the whole day. PICOT, being a local NGO, we are quite familiar to the communities we've been working with.
Okay.
Today we are here on one of our projects, and that is the Legal Empowerment and Social Accountability Project. That is basically empowering communities on issues of the planning process, and also sensitizing communities on government programs, basically to allow them to hold leaders accountable for certain things. And then also we are building the capacity of the leaders to also perform. We cannot empower citizens and leave the leaders, so we are doing a two-way empowerment process. The project that we are here for today is in Maracha and Koboko district, and we are not all over the district. We are in selected places. In Koboko we are in in Koboko we are in North Division. That's why you heard from the introduction. We have officials from North Division. We are in Lobule Sub-County and Kuluba Sub-County. In Maracha we are in Oleba Sub-County. We are in Olufe and Tara. We are in the second year of the project. Actually, we have ended it. The project is for 2.5 years. So we are now, right now, January, we are now on the remaining half of the year. And the project, the funding is from European Union through the Office of the Prime Minister under the Development Initiative for Northern Uganda, DINU. That's where the support is coming from. Now, why this project? We have some objectives that we intend to achieve.
Okay.
One of it is, like I earlier mentioned, we want to enhance the community, the capacity of the community members to hold the duty bearers accountable in terms of service delivery. Just like I mentioned earlier, there are so many services that are supposed to be provided to people. And then number 2 is that we want to enhance the capacity of also the leaders who are the ones providing these services to the communities, so that they can ably do it. We are aware that government cannot provide all the capacity building, so we come in also to enhance that. And then lastly, we want to also empower the civil society organizations or the CBOs at grassroots levels, that they can also take up some of the roles that the local NGOs, the international NGOs are doing, so that there's the localization agenda that we want to promote our local CBOs. Otherwise, that is what I can say for now. And we are very grateful for the support from the local governments that we're working in.
Great objectives. But just before I get to Tyree, how long is this project going to take in terms of its duration?
The project is for 2.5 years. We have finished 2 years. We are left with only 6 months to end it. Much as we were interrupted by COVID, but we are on track.
All right. Thank you so much, Marco Stella. Tyree, the words seem to be so complex. Feedback mechanism in planning and budgeting process in the local government. I would request you take us through baby steps so that we can have a better understanding of these very things we're talking about. So please pick it up from there.
Thank you very much, moderator. I would like to appreciate Stella and the PICOT for giving us this opportunity to share with our listener. When we talk about feedback mechanism or process and the planning and budgeting, all of us are aware that currently in Uganda we have a system of the decentralized government system, and where planning and budgeting is from the lower local government, from the village to parish to sub-county, district, up to the central government. So when we talk about the feedback mechanism in the planning process, we normally have a cycle. There is a cycle that moves in the planning, and it normally starts with the data collection, which actually we had explained here thoroughly the last time we came here for the radio talk show. Currently or today we are looking at the feedback. How do the communities get information or feedback of the projects or the activities that have been planned and that have been funded by government? This can be both lower local government and central government. And what are those projects or priorities which are not funded or which are not considered in this case by local government and the central government? We now give them the information. Now here, majorly we are looking at how is this information given. Okay. With this, this information is given when you look at the planning process from June to July. In the planning and budgeting process, that is the first item before the next planning of government begins. Feedback is normally given to the community of what was planned last financial year and what has been implemented and not implemented. We give it to give leeway for the next planning process. So that is where feedback begins. Okay. And after that feedback in the planning process is given, there are also other mechanisms, other ways of telling people and giving them the feedback that these activities that have been implemented and these other ones which are not implemented, there are other procedures that local governments consider for informing the people. One of which is in the council sittings. You remember the villages have their council sittings, and the composition of the villages have all the people in that particular village who are above 18 years. They sit, they give feedback. We have the parish council sittings, we have the sub-county, we have the district council, even in the parliament. That is where we get feedback and we inform the people about projects, activities that were planned, that were budgeted and are being implemented. That is another mechanism of giving feedback. The other mechanism is like the state of address by the chairman. Even for the Ugandan setting, we have the president addresses the state, the nation, on the events in various sectors, whether education, health, production. That also happens in the sub-counties, where the chairman LC3 gives the state of address in that particular sub-county. Even the chairperson LC5s, they also give that feedback. And it is a mechanism that is used to inform the people about the projects, the activities that have been planned. We have also the display of these planned, budgeted activities on the notice boards. You sometimes go to the district notice board, you find the priorities which are funded and which are not funded. You go to the sub-counties, they also have the funded priorities and the unfunded priorities. It is displayed. That is also a feedback mechanism which the planning process gives, offers to the community. We also have the media, just like what we are now. We also give feedback. Sometimes in our various radio stations, chairpersons, L5s are invited, the CAO, maybe heads of departments are invited to give the status of implementation of activities in that particular area or district. That is also another mechanism of giving feedback. We have barazas. Currently, the sub-counties, even the municipals organize these barazas to meet the communities. Even the partners like PICOT, just a week ago, PICOT also had a baraza in my sub-county Lobule. That is also another mechanism of giving feedback of projects which were planned, which were budgeted, and the level or the status of implementation. We have also the parishes sit for meetings, like the biannual meetings, which are organized by the parishes. And in urban setting, the town agents are there that work at that level of the sub-counties or local government at parish level, who gives feedback about the projects and the activities that are being implemented. The social media, currently people use now the social media. Some sub-counties, some districts, even some villages have their platforms. It can be WhatsApp, it can be a Facebook, where they give feedback of the level of implementation of activities. We have also the social and cultural events. You find if there is a party, the area leaders, technical and political are invited. They give, like maybe if there's a party, even in the funerals, they give these feedbacks in this status. Budget conference. This is the second last thing I wanted to say in the mechanism of giving feedback. We have the budget conference. This budget conference looks at what was implemented the last financial year, what is being implemented in the current financial year, and what is proposed for the next financial year. Here, it gives a status of the level of implementation of projects and activities in the lower local governments up to the district and even at the national level, where the budget conference gives that status quo of the implementation. Here, finally, what I wanted to say is that these feedbacks are always given on projects in government. It is only planned and budgeted programs and projects that are being implemented. If there is an activity that has not been planned and where maybe there is availability of money, government goes for supplementary budget to make sure that that activity or that money is planned and budgeted. So this feedback goes for those planned and budgeted activities. Thank you. I think that is briefly what I wanted to give us about the feedback mechanism and the process in the planning.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tyree. I must say, Christopher, Tyree has taken us through a lot of things that are involved, and the mechanisms are quite clear. And as you make additions to what his submissions are, I want you to kindly help us understand how all this is functioning from at least where you are working, and what challenges the community is facing in terms of putting across their feedbacks, and if any, later on we will have some time to figure out the solutions to some of the challenges they are having. Please.
Thank you, moderator. How this functions in my place of work, there are different steps. First of all, the accounting officer, or in that case, the sub-county chief, or the division town clerk is the accounting office of the division, and everything that happens there is under his charge. So he is actually the first person who gives feedback. That is the first stage. We call a meeting that he said is in July, before the next planning process starts. There the accounting officer can take people through, the key stakeholders can take them through the activities that were planned, the ones which were achieved and the ones which were not achieved. Sometimes at that level, if the accounting officer is very busy somehow, you find the accounting officer can delegate that role to the CDO. Actually, at the sub-county or at the division level, the CDO is the planner. You get it? So at that level, sometimes the CDO can do it, but he or she does it on behalf of the accounting officer or the division town clerk. At the ward level, the accounting officer now instructs the parish chiefs or the town agents. Parish chief is at sub-county level, the ward at town agents is at the ward level or in the urban altogether. Yes. So you will now instruct, and now during ward meetings, that's when the parish chief can give the feedback to the ward committee. And then at the cell level, it is still the town agent, but now the whole council of the cell. Actually, everybody staying in the village. By the way, for your information, you are a councillor of the particular village where you come from. So the LC1 should give you feedback on the plans that you have submitted. So that is how it flows. There are various challenges of the people face. I mean, the communities face in giving feedback. Actual feedback, I want to give a simple definition of feedback. Feedback is a reaction to a reaction or a response to a particular process or activity. So in that case, it is two-way. Feedback can come from community, and also the council can give feedback to the community. For example, if North Division goes to open a road, you find people react differently. There are those who refuse the road, there are those who appreciate the council for coming to open the road, and that is all feedback. So one challenge that the community faces in giving feedback is there is no clear media. You know, these word planning meetings, sometimes they are very regular, and people have issues they want to discuss, but meetings are not organized. So it makes feedback very difficult. That is one. Two, at division level, we wait until July to give feedback. That means the whole year, sometimes if there are no other meetings, a lot of things will go in a messy way, and then you come and give feedback later when everything has gone wrong. So that is another challenge. And then also communities, sometimes when they raise issues through their leaders, these issues are not presented in council. You get it? So in that way, you find the community feels that their feedback to a particular process has not been taken. So it is a big challenge again for us, for them. But I also wanted to give you importance of giving feedback. Okay. Why it is very important to give feedback. At local government level, feedback helps to improve programs. You know, when you implement program in a community and community gives you positive feedback, you will know that even if it is bad one, at least you will have the chance to improve on how you should administer that program. And then two, feedback also helps to promote good communication with the community, and it increases public trust in government. Do you know there are very few people who trust the government? They just think these people have started their things of planning and budgeting, and you don't see things coming. But when you give them feedback that we do not have enough resources, and So out of your planning that you did, we have managed to take these activities or these programs, and we have left this. I think the community will feel very happy and they will have trust in you.
That's true.
So it promotes that good communication and public trust. And then also feedback helps you to understand your service delivery areas. For us, government, when we give feedback to community, you will be able to know what you have done and what you have not done. So it helps you to understand your service delivery areas. And then also it helps you to determine service gaps. Because resources are not enough, when you give feedback to community, you will be able to know that this area we have not been able to touch it, and that gap you now see how to lobby from partners to take it. And also, feedback is very important to politicians. When our MPs come around and we are giving feedback, they will be able to take our issues which are unfunded to the central government, and in that way we will be able to get funding. Also, feedback helps to avoid duplication of activities. In most cases, when you give feedback, it helps CBOs and even government to avoid duplicating activities. Initially, those days you find different CBOs, NGOs doing the same activities in the same area. But through feedback, the CBOs will be able to understand that now this CBO A is dealing in this activity. I think for me, my intervention in this community should be different. So it really helps in that way. And then lastly, I think it also empowers communities to demand for accountability and transparency.
All right.
Yes, because when you give feedback, the community will really feel empowered, and next time they will be able to demand that the other time we planned this, can you give us feedback? It empowers them, and really in that way you will be accountable and transparency will prevail. Thank you. That's why I want to end.
All right, thank you so much. And if at all you've just tuned in, I must say you are listening at Radio Pacis 90.9 FM, a piece of press for all. And the discussions right now are about the feedback mechanism in our planning and, of course, our budgeting process. And for now, we'll switch to the local languages. And, of course, if you have questions and concerns, please send them through on 0393-273-252. Later on, we will be able to give you an opportunity to also call in and put across your concerns. And first, let's start with Kakwa. Stella, a summary of what has been discussed in Kakwa. Thereafter, we'll get to Gloria. Then we will pick it up from there, please.
Iete kainganilo na rambadi na ramakuta kango igiri. I aponda I radio ni bepikoti I ngadu na kulea kasita. Tariki mere amsala ko itagele kingalo kajelo ya polo merigele ko nyomrelo ya aponda inde. Itikinda nata togole kulea na mogabiri ku keringala galika lopetan kulea I government ndo. Oya da kuma mora naga di kulea naga ringi natikinda onjini kangana ani mindiponda ikilo meeting lalo kona beri kaya grubela katani kilo kujunaga kulea naga ya kondakine ani teito kibo naga di kuota kaju ya kondango kulo gele mure musala balaga umajilo gelea kujunaga de atikinda onjini kangana gedi a doto duteli kureni kana bakara kango ndikini ya di ndipiaki ndata naga di ina nyoko na kulea naga kaya di dingi inadi kwa beti kukutulo English lo adi feedback angbada adi utugo gele uwe oro akiko le mure gele na nuponda kaya dumalayu nele na nyoro kaya ni kayo kiyo adi nyoko na kulea na do wanjina konda biri ya palo muda ya palo bukie ba ya palo bukie lo ya dedo naga di ilo ya pale de laga iklo do anyo lo petelika laga I village katan kwa ili ngwa di wanjinika na planning meeting so isala galude kata yiklo kya kaji kuota kajulu ya peda ngoklo musala ba duma jigele kujunaga sende kini bajinga wo kui bongana gadi mimi ndilo ngode ani kingale de la bonilo kui tikido ama kui makeki kolikude la gakabeti organization la nagakata romo kitogu ikine kutokea lero wai duka kupongana gadi ngalo tikindai ilo roro de beia grube kani roro lale lumioro ikoni kwa isabu county ni ilo sub county chief lo ilo tununda parish chief laklo yote lepedwa kiak ndakara na gadi report longi district ilo akpejana gadi i parish na gadi na demala gaduma dikilo sekilo de aya wito jinita boyo kutuneta cabinet na erusina kiaki takara na gadi ngola ga aduma dikilo sekilo de cabinet na ngbera kade mutula ga village kata ekilo aya kutario jilo rorode pirito kude na gataro mo kidio jiroro laga loteite kiyo amalaga kasun kiadu kilo eda kabeti piko tika julu yi akonda leden olungadi community dialogue isala lude mutulu laga kai kilo talaga igurube kata ikilo kuleta kude na gakumuka ayu ilo petelalo de kikine ta kuyaki kadola kasilo ta pipika la ko piesi kara duga da de na gadi kai adiri mutuklo nyo boku kure idenda na ngola gasa konda kai kila enga da so if isala ngola be dialogue la be ilo de ta do romo kirio jinyo teitoki na kulea ilo petela ta peda kinilo ledelo isala nyo kwa beti radio talk sola na gabe kinat ta do romo kitija do malaklo na gabi kajulu ka beti ka sabu county ne ma village ni ya peda ngoklo de na ayenga daya kara do romo kinyuko kindo ta ile de kiko le ama pirito ku de naga yiro mo kirio jininyo teito kinai kuliata bako ata be ikayu na ta teito lo kuliata naga ta bonga ingola ga peta kiki dukai lo ta teito ba didini ama ku ngolo kiko lo ngaya ta do poponda ku isabu county naga de sabu county chief kiko lo lunga ngai woi bonga kiko lo aku ngai ku berla labo ama mara muna buko kine akubera mara muna ga nabunga kuloketa kutakita kulungutu de ku konesoso na de kwejana gadi ta bonga wala luka ya loro ta ponda nyo isabu county ni peje ena de do kenda dio do feedback o feedback lan bera di du alo budu le de sang do bera kine kulana ga nyo ta bonga naro ta do ponda ta pia kina ikenda giri ade nyo a feedback la ikikola lobu kikola loro wale de lo sangi yilo mo kirioji teito ki ikule atanaga ilopetelika ngalo kinikine amazi sangi isala gabeti kuchi amani elsu mukana amachi amani elsu muda musala nyelo kulia ilokulia ilungu adi state of address epenga lo kia kinda ikajia pete ngokulo denge laga yako ndakilo de laga yako kondakilo de ngarde kikola banda yako kondakilo de anu kujuna kulana kade lo de dobila akikole de la iro mokirio jikuku kuku de kata angiri kujuna bange nani ro moki kena dukaranga giri bongola namdi ki de ne de be kayu mutu laga grube kilo na gadi le de ngola gata ko tikinda ilo pete ani ro moki ponda kasuyu Mwala galo tu kasuyu kilo kasula ta peda kayu kiundi de kimi so kuku ama sede kula sonyo jinaga aku bela ilo pete namdi tikinda beta pia so de kana kajuti covid indekine so na nakunde kajua ko peta waduga ponda duga nyolo lungu adi meeting lo lungu council lo gudi kinaga
supplementary budget
adilo de kine da ponda naga aku peta Wokina de gedi kine dona ko yakene ko kikola de amgana naga di yakia saru uwe lo de ngala namdi ki de ne delo yika yube mutulu igurube katai ganda naga yimi mindi teto kina ko yakatne bo singana nia tu da pedale den gelena naga di yiro mo ki deda naga di lo petela ka la kan kilo ra lo kwa ma lo ya ni de deni beti ngutu du grube katai murena na gadi yiro mo ki denda na gai services ka la ga klotiki ka ni kilotiki ku kiko la galobu wala loro musalo na gadi tikida do bila yimi junyo ganyo ga ku ka dola kaya ngaklo na gadi kulia bajinga ya woku ya tuko kikara kude kuyo na kara yengu danyo kara da woko tuko ki gedi ne tikinda igbo anyo nyoga ka didingi ni yanu beda pajo tikina do bila ka dola ka kilo de na gati ndeke na ku kitaso mutu kala deke ne kula de nde poponda kweni na ndelo ku pipia kara do bila gedi kita ko kure konda kitana so kukude rodi naga na ro mo kitaji ko do kujuna bange na lo ngerda ninde na tajuna ga di isala ikilo ngadu kine kula ta te ka di ding ni ama feedback la ilo de na gele na ngola ga ringlo na gadi ilo feedback te ko besa bukanti na peta kanda ikinga gelelo lunga gele bokule takne mingi ka yusa yani mondu sulunga la dute ledelo sangma ko yudi lunga la de na kitagera bongo jini kulata na kude na bla do na lu dube na fonda so ina da tikinda enyo tomoni murena na gadi krito kude bai na yiro moki pejikine kulata kude na ne ka yikine ko apurbe akongona bama enjone da yenga kaya yibe di ya kichakuru na bange de ipeja na kine kuliate wala nalo nidi piakinda yi kayu be mutulu kilo na gadi sabukanti lag niledelo sangi pajo boka dola laga isabukanti yukude angutu laga ajonga aide inyo ikita kinayi kai kukuje kilo ngutude kwa konda kulena ro kutatara kango pondita office ni takita kilo ngutude wala adingala gagbere logbote duga manyo mariri nga aya kukude kule kata kumumuna gadige da yenga i bangena ga anaro sa ani keka kukuna na kitalo kukulo pondita bero maloloko kita kuloko office gele office lak ne ro dikina office la da kaya ngaki woro nu woro my dead ben kule na ga kata dikina
Aduma, I see, Tairi, you want to add something.
What I just wanted to add is that this planning process here, if it is not followed very well by the communities, it is very difficult for them to follow.
Okay.
Meaning that for them to get a substantive feedback, a clear information, they should follow it from the planning process. When they are identifying the priorities at the village level, if they don't follow it, by the time feedback will be given, they will not understand after what the feedback is all about.
All right. We'll get to more of the solutions because Senator Clark here just gave us some of the challenges that are being faced. But first, Gloria Tiakuerse.
Okay. So, Bameriwa Fasiri, Ameayon Zedwa. Girka gameta lalu niyo kan kuyon seba obi ini tutere bengon ru kan kuduko sezu obi ini azingazu ribetolo ni ngon ru ya madria mayokini duakini girka gameta niyo ntezu ba ini ribegi indundu gameta uru ano the central government di flopo kan kwayota iwo ba ileribenira bombe decentralization ni feino po itozu yo ini pasozu kan kwa zita ini azini ngazo yisira pada matala si mitine gamete ledini azinga kan kuyo ini baba ini bemboru lezu kinu duko ini azini ngare mata ba ini diterbura ibi uduko sungazo ba ini azinga za be uru tualo kirkani ndundusi batikin dua uduko dinicha ba man tsazuri ni ifu lengon ruya kan kuitoki oi amavu uruga meta dara meri toki sugir kongosia lezune zuki ni adada gamete inazinga ini badilo akino kori ni sune afazi boirombe ba moditewa amano piope kan komandra election sezu ini di iriva kini nezu iyo ba gamete ini eri ifene community alalu nidri iri okorisi LC5 ni ido i parliament ido i president ni national address ya kabuti ya febo erimucha district ni LC5 ni on so bi ni ribe ericha sub county ala lumalia sub county alo chapter kan LC3 ni on se ba ni ribe yo bani kan kwa mazi amani ngara kan kwa amani ngara angabini kwa diosari ivindu ko feini ndi girkazin mazi ivini chiberonze barazani barara di girka obi trangwa lumalia parisala lumalia me yiti woro angwa lumalia imu yo gametenya zinge bengoni kan kwa yota te ndundu di taivu ngondo azin simbini sune ama gameteru ametoke river amazinga meselea vasi te community talking azida maza appreciate kan ko yo talking atiku ai kidimu itangwa lumala kakiti tangwa ba kidudu kondundu gametenga zidi niraya ngaivu kuya ngonya riba tretualu sadamalia girkazin even chi beriomve bio annual meeting di mukungu alwalo amavuri beima tipe imwangu alwalo ini dutere malia imu yonze obi ini dutere betu alu mukungu di erimu upon the council ni fernini erimu elisi tube fazibombe Paris Development Committee ekimu iyo bani swingazuva village ala lomaliari even iri Paris Amalia yoda maza kozu nyazu ngiten agirikazu niviniti amasasi ombe social media ni social media di sasi yobani nze olialiasi misune amudu ko ifendundu ka kobo amarivle kobo kwada faza meronze urban development forum dini misune bayi alenya mingi bayi udu kondundu yiji like you azika esasi amavuda ka aga fa sezika inga kobo gasia ka itangwa rumalia mineba kudu kuji amavu yozu angazidi kwa diosia ikibini yondundu yiji ndundu forum da malia ere amazako tuala manudu ko sebadi fuindi fazaba yodakini cultural villages fada ere amazako vini minesa ziba fe LC5 pini kaniku basa zife LC3 pini ini muzu kanisa lere malia kaniku sa drad lere malia be ini sa fe yonzezo bibe afamani erari ngoi afamani te ekuringoi teni ikwa diosi bavini sa zife ini were tozi yonzezo bibendi igirikaman tozi yonzezo udukofezo bini vi afazi amabino mve mdutisi budget conference ni yonze azi amani ngeli adersi kingoi ama ekiri kuya diosi ayeli disi azi amani ngari ngoi tamadibini wi anga girkana mani ringazu ngoi amabino dukofe obivu planning ni girka isindi bayo tevin duakini planning di ma urudi amani ne obivuria dinia okay planning amani piyera mebikirie eringazo ingazo village alo kan ku sel ndutisi tawnyere berombe sel ni kan ku fari ba disutera merombe village ni dini okorisa yota kansu na yota da fe idozo mbaziani azini mbazirni kansu na yota da fe erido okorisi amerido okorisi data collections feedbacks amadi move amamu legale ama obini eyoli atresa ma eri ngoi ili sama ye kuringo ya mangada ife akadife bufunya madimu rodri afadi vuria dinyara madimu rife ayoti dakino rodri okori baka rife obi ita ameyonje obi pie urikokoru obi kiyonje amani ikilo amantondoloru kini iyo amini yedi alerira kan kuyo amani yedi aleri ko obi ilo amantondolo amavini gametera amada amotu beni erivini girikazini chi amani nezu afobini lesa gametema eni ara dini ara amani risunde sada malia fazini kiti gamete toni yoni dunyako te akakidi mugame obi buperele dale erdisu amadisu ne obi kininira amaninira gametero afazikiti obi lekiri erleba ma erisala malia fanir ketabo erisamani muivumbele rubeni yovini dwakini eri amazako lezun nezukini azi amani ngari me ma bazir ni ngari leri kubeni mine NGOs ki kan ku CBOs ki amavuti mine imu ima azini ngari ni iti kamete beri tuwe titi amade yo amesele wadi nikini planning nida maza kole zuni zukini azi NGO ini muri mo azi i eringa kirkadelerisi amavini kamete ro amavini kirkadelerisi ndi ayovini duakini eri amaza kole zunezu azi amani ngari ma tindili ikeri ba like azi pambu pala ningari mena ra adi angazi kamete ingazi di obima akinya ayikosi nezu azi kamete nini ngazuri ridi ni
our 4 minute Gloria mega amaswa daika togogo oro midipi daika oro di malada madbande lebari family zitaver kizizu mi talere ngoni aika zitaver balumbarti sidero mvira kakwati sidero mvira vidi mduti sidero mvira. And right now you can take your call phone and put across your concern via the studio line, which is 0776 255 086. Alternatively, you can call on 0754 201 301. What is it like from your community? Are you people actually involved, or you are passively involved? On the SMS line, a couple of messages right here. The very first one is from Titus, who is from Yole. Actually, Titus is asking, what next after this very project? Does it just end like that, or there is a possibility of another project coming up and perhaps integrating in more districts? First, let's have this caller. Radio Pacis.
Hello.
Yes?
Hello?
Yes? Okay. Matua megamevure abadinga rikora pito kwa zira irito kwa raza kandi kutoko na orobina irezirina iritoiri ada SMS line te line simu azire toko azirito isu iritoko alu na toko alu. The other message on the SMS line says thanks for the show. Amanguyo from Yumbe. Anguyo is basically just appreciating, but first Madinga Imu Falomo Christopher Mevoda, you spelled out the challenges, and basically I will get to you for the solutions. But just before that, Radio Pacis. Hello. Okay. Among the challenges you spelled out were a number of things, and to add to that, you did talk about the lack of a clear medium, and of course the fact that it is an annual cycle once a year. But from experience, I must say, most of the times people are not bothered, not until another election cycle comes up, basically for the elected leaders. How do we get the masses involved in the feedback mechanism? Maybe just before you answer that, Radio Pacis. Okay. Adi? Tualare.
Marmani mina or for kata mana lari ba to sir ba bless alawa.
Hour 4.
After mana hour 4.
Okay. Odini for mini tualare semo mini borase. Let me get to you, Christopher.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy of the feedback we are getting. I think it's on a positive note. Actually, I want to say, as a solution, we need to now plan more radio talk shows so that we can reach a bigger number of the population. we have seen when we call people for even these feedback meetings, sometimes we find very few people come. So through the radio, you see we are receiving calls from Yole, and our project does not even reach some of those parts. So we are really very happy people are listening. We also we need to integrate our activities as a sub-county, as a ward. When we
maybe just to cut you short, let's have this one. Radio Pacis. Okay. Ruare.
Na sasa kwa hiyo ndatuka.
Agako.
So our purpose that is at least katika chora medikinga nenda program maya ili seriously and kwa special zile ndio nenda kwa hizo ndio sisi kwa on a bit inside after you know our plan.
Okay.
All
right.
That call actually called when I was even mentioned that same point that's mentioned. So I was on the verge of saying we need to have integrated activities and regular sensitization meetings on the process. I think that way we'll be able to make people understand, and when they understand it, for sure they will be able to hold duty bearers responsible. And then also we need to create more platforms. You know, these days the world is urbanizing. People no longer want to attend meetings, and I think COVID also came with a positive note. Through COVID, now people have developed other ways of communication. So through this social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, you know, many youth and all that, even the elderly having smartphones. So, like, I want to emphasize on the Koboko Development Forum that we are using. And in that we have solved so many issues, and I want to appreciate the listener that through their feedback we have handled a lot of issues in Koboko North Division, because they are able to give us feedback through this platform. So I encourage other local governments to emulate this, so that we will be able to educate the masses.
All right.
And also they will be able to give us feedback where necessary.
All right. Actually, we have about 3 minutes, and we surely have to use this 3 minutes to wind up the discussion. I'll give all of you an opportunity to put across your final remarks. I'll start from Tyree, right here after Tyree. I'll get to Gloria, then Christopher, then finally Stella will finalize. And of course, Tyree, your final remarks.
Thank you very much, moderator. I also want to appreciate the listener for giving us this positive feedback. My last remarks, I would say that we encourage the communities to participate in following up government programs. This participation should start from the village level and come to the parish and the sub-county up to the district. Let them also come and visit the offices, because there are a lot of issues that are in the offices probably which they might have not understood. They can come and get the feedback from the office. As the senior assistant town clerk had said, the issue of attendance to meetings is really one of the important things that I would encourage the communities to really be active in it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Gloria.
Hello, Foseba Meruon Rosni. My Yodina by me, Mary Pisas on the Rosary. Kamete ma office day mini. Kama etu usiku kakile yo nira mememuki office la lumale mimuki music yo dare. Aba imni pe imnandre matipe da blebe miditeware.
Okay.
Veni sidio ni dati replana subcontinental la lavuri mamuki yo ni kamete ma programs ma drengazu subcontinental la luminiri mali adini.
And for me, Gloria, Christopher.
Thank you very much. I want to thank PCOD for creating for us this platform, for always coming to educate our listeners and our communities through your work, your meetings and platforms that you have created for us. I think we are getting very positive feedback as North Division, and I think the last one we had at North Division, you saw the number. So I think people are getting to know that it is important to attend these meetings. I also want to thank the moderator for hosting us. And lastly, I want to thank all my staff of North Division for working together. Let us continue with this team spirit.
All right, thank you so much. Finally,
of course, I want to respond to a concern that was raised by one gentleman. What next after the 2.5 years? Actually, we are piloting these 2.5 years. There's a possibility of extending it and also extending it to other districts. So we are very hopeful. My last comment is to my people. Utukwekilo kai unamdi takna tanagadi. Nolaga meeting la kai kilo tukiworo nuworo kai kumomonu nagadi namindi kina tikiniki tukidogo ama soda kataya. Kida kuutu ipeda na kulia dani denda inyolo konda biri. Kuikolo kikbereloma makaini sende kilo de kango ngola kwa alumwadi momore ni idi ama meeting kita atuta kukore. Mongola konda biri kilo kuipinepi kadola kaya kilo.
All right, thank you so much. That's the voice of Marco Stella. She is the project officer, PICOT. She was together with, that is Tyree, who is the sub-county chief for Lobule sub-county, and of course Lomo Christopher, senior assistant town clerk for Koboko North, that is in Koboko municipality, and also Sarah Gloria, who is the CDO Koboko North Division. My name is Philip Ajay, your host. Up next is the news channel in English, brought to you by Pamela Tim. Thank you so much for listening, and God